just before we get started on the program, I wanted to go into a little bit of depth about why exercising is so important as we start to age. Now, as we age, we know that we lose up to about half of our muscle mass. This causes a decrease in things like strength and balance, which can contribute to falls in older adults. It also contributes to a decrease in our metabolic rate, which in simple terms means that we don't burn the energy that we consume in our food as readily. This then causes an increase in fat mass as we get older. So what we see is this increase in fat mass and this decrease in muscle mass as we age, which can contribute to health problems like cardiovascular disease, diabetes, and obesity. So as you can see, there's a whole range of factors why continuing to exercise as you get older or even taking it up later in life are crucially important. So with that, let's get into the workout. So we're starting with our core exercises today. We're going to do 3 core, 3 upper body and 3 lower body, slowly and progressively building in all our muscle groups within our body. So the first exercise we have is a dead bug. So lying down on the ground on your back, you're going to bend your knees up at about a 90-degree angle, head and hands on the ground. You're going to slowly lower one leg down at a time until your heel touches the ground, keeping the other one up at that 90-degree angle, coming back up. Now the aim of this exercise is to try and keep your back flat on the ground. So to do that, you have to draw your belly button down to the ground and you feel that flatten out your spine exercise. So staying down in this neutral spine position, dropping your feet to the ground, the next exercise we're going to do is a glute bridge. So feet flat on the ground, hands by your side once again. You're going to switch your core on. So once again, you're going to feel your back flatten out by drawing your belly button down to the ground. Keeping your core and your spine in this position, you're going to press through your feet and lift your glutes or your bum off the ground until you're flat up the top as high as you can go. Now this will activate your legs a little bit, but the primary concern here is keeping your core down and your back flat. Slowly lower yourself down, rolling your spine back down to the ground, and let everything turn off and switch off. Once again, reset, turn your core on, feel it turned on in your back to the ground, lifting your bum up off the ground until your body is flat like a table, and then lowering yourself back down. Now the third core exercise, once again still in this very neutral position, is just a simple crunch. So we're just going to work on a little bit of strength here. So as you come up, sliding yourself up until your hands are at your knees, and then sliding yourself back down, rolling one vertebrae down at a time. Now once again, the important thing with this is to have your core switched on before you do anything. So draw your belly button down to the ground, go from there. Peeling yourself up nice and slow. Now you can go to any height when you do these, you don't necessarily have to reach your knees, but if you can go further, that's fine, just stop at your knees for this one. So you could just lift up to here, or you could get right up just below your knees, or the final point up to your knees and lowering yourself back down nice and easy. We're going to do an overhead press. So there's a couple of options here. You can stand with your feet side by side next to each other, keeping the dumbbell at your chest to start off with, elbows tucked in nice and tight. You're going to press the weight up overhead and back down. Now doing this side on, you'll see the main thing to notice with this exercise is that you don't want to see an arch in your back as you press up. Now, that's why we did our core exercises first, because now everything is switched on, you know what it feels like. So belly button drawn into your spine, pressing the weight up, keeping that spine nice and neutral and straight as you come back down. Next exercise is tricep extensions. So holding onto your weight or whatever you're using for a weight, you're going to take the weight up overhead to start off with. Here's a really good chance to check in with your core again and make sure that your belly button is drawn back to your spine. From here, you're going to keep from your shoulders to your elbows nice and still. That's not moving at all. You're going to bend your elbows, taking the weight back behind your head as low as you can go, and then you're going to pull the weight back up using your triceps, so the muscles at the back of your arms. Once again, lowering back down nice and slow and coming back up. So the side on view of this one, you'll see that from my my shoulder to my elbows do not move at all. I simply bend my elbow and take my forearms back. Nice and slowly, and back up, keeping your elbows tracking straight ahead so you don't want them out to the side. Lowering back down, drawing yourself back up. And that you're going to be using forward. So this is that split stance again. Other hand on the chair for balance. Bending yourself over. Now it's really important with this one that you activate your core. So we don't want to see any arched backs with this one. Core on, belly button drawn in, nice flat back as you do this one. Letting your weight drop down without pulling your shoulder down, so we want to keep some kind of tension in the arm. Elbow nice and tight, you're going to draw that weight up and back down. So we don't want any chicken wings, we want to keep our elbows into our torso nice and tight. You should almost feel the inside of your arm tracking up your torso and back down. The harder you want to make this, the more you can bend over. So if you're bent over, you're fighting against gravity a little bit more and it's a little bit harder. You're going to lift the leg that's on top directly up above the other foot, keeping that nice straight line. So you want to be rolled over on your hips, you don't want to be rolled over back onto your bum. You can also pop a pillow under your hips if it's more comfortable for you and it's a little bit uncomfortable in this position. So taking that top leg up, nice and slow, and lowering back down. So nice and steady, the slower the better for this exercise. You want to keep it nice and controlled and difficult. Initially this one doesn't feel that difficult, but after a few it really starts to burn. Added option to make this a little bit more difficult, if you've got a resistance band, you can put that around your ankles and do it that way. Makes it a little bit harder, you won't get your foot as high, but it adds that added extra layer of resistance to the exercise. So nice and slow and controlled. Braking at the hips to start off with. So keeping everything straight, braking, so sending your bum backwards. From this position, we're not going to change anything other than to bend our knees. So you're going to slowly bend your knees, shifting your weight back onto your heels until you land on the chair. So you know that chair is there as a bit of a safety net for you that you can keep going down until you feel it. From here, you can either squat yourself back up, or if that's a little bit too difficult, you can just stand up as you normally would from a chair. So I'm going to show both. So if you're continuing with the squat, putting your weight forward, you will break at the hips once again and slowly lift yourself back up. So showing that once again. Going down nice and slow, let the weight fall onto your chair. This time I'm just going to stand up like normal. So I'm just standing up. You can use your arms as you would normally get out of a chair. You can start doing it that way and slowly work yourself up to squatting back up out of the chair as you get better at that exercise. So grabbing something just to hold on lightly. I like to just put 2 fingers on whatever I'm using to balance. It's more just for balance, not to actually pull yourself up. Keeping your feet just under hip width apart, so they don't need to be touching and they don't want to be out too wide, just as you naturally would stand. You're going to roll through your feet up on your tippy toes and roll back down again. So nice and slow. Like with our first leg exercise, these ones are best done when they're slow and controlled. Going back up. Really important, if you can see my feet, we don't want our ankles to break out to the side. So calf raises are also good for foot and ankle stability as well as working the calf muscle. So you want to keep your ankles in nice and tight. So just from side on view, rolling up through all of our feet, coming back down nice and slow.